Hello everyone, this is Showdown 1138, this is Lunchtime Games, and today I'm playing Eidolon. It's been kind of a stressful day, so I think a game like this, which is very relaxing, ought to help me out a good deal. It's not a very action game. They call this a walking simulator, even though I kind of hate that term. So why don't I just sort of describe what this game's about here. Basically, it's very minimalistic looking, these graphics here. We are in the Pacific Northwest, Washington State, apparently. This is sometime post-humanity. There's no one else here. There's only me. I don't even know if I'm even a person or not. I'm just a viewpoint wandering around. But we find all of these notes as we wander around that talk about the how life was before everything kind of ended. And I've collected, as you can see, quite a few of them. A lot of them are written in different styles. And you can see down here at the bottom of each note, there are these little buttons. And a lot of these stories told by the notes, they sort of intertwine with one another, basically. They all kind of interconnect and they all kind of cross over with each other. And let me basically describe what I've learned so far. In this world, there is a technology. Well, first of all, let me go in here. I have this tablet here. The clock is wrong. It always says it's 12 a.m. I have pretty much no bars of service. If I look at my health here, it says, due to your distance from a beacon, your vitals are subject to extreme changes, including death. So what this tells me is at some point in the past, and as I'm finding more and more notes, this kind of confirms it, there is this technology called beacons. And apparently those effectively make you immortal, or at least they protect you from injury and death. And I've been trying to find some information relating to them. And the way I can do that is I have, on some of these notes, I have a button labeled beacons. And I've been trying to track them down, and you do that by clicking on a button, and this little green thing goes off into the sky, and we have to go in that direction. We have to basically chase that thing down to see what's going on. And looking over here, there's some clouds. These are basically ruined skyscrapers in the distance there. Just kind of the iron skeleton of the building is all that's left and is toppled over as nature reclaims everything. So as I'm traveling toward that green thing, you see there's this mountain range in the way, which I can't get over because it's way too steep. So what I'm going to do is take a look at my compass, and it's kind of to the north of me. It kind of runs a little bit north towards the sort of south by southeast. It's really interesting that it leads me up in that direction, but the only maps that I have are these kind of hand-drawn maps. And I think, I want to say that I'm kind of up here, right in this area. I believe that this line is the mountain range, and this black line here is a river. Okay, and if I turn to the side, I can see the river. It's actually down here, just right underneath this, kind of near this building, or this ruin. There's like a canyon that goes Yep, it goes way down there, and there's the river going off into the distance there. So I think if I want to find out what's going on with those beacons... Whoops, that was not what I wanted to do. I want to, go right about in that direction. I'm not sure what side of the river that I need to be on, but I think I'm on the correct side. So let's just, let's get moving here. This game has a day and night cycle. You also have, there's no threats, as far as I can tell. There's no zombies, there's no monsters. I did run into a bear at one point, and while it didn't kill me, it knocked me unconscious. One other thing to worry about, you see on the lower left of my screen, there is an eyeball and what looks like a stomach. The eyeball is surrounded by green. That basically indicates that I'm rested, and the stomach indicates that I am slightly hungry. So these mushrooms, I'll pick those up. I got 3 of them. That's not going to do much. But I have in my backpack here 15 pieces of tinder for making campfires, 10 pieces of cooked fish, and these 3 mushrooms, which I'll go ahead and eat. They didn't help me much. You get fish by fishing in bodies of water, and I have a fish pole for that. And I actually wonder if I can use it on this river down here, because it is so far down. This may not work, but... Oh yeah. Doing some cliff-top fishing here. So when you fish, you get raw fish, and... Yep, there we go. And like most fish, they go bad fairly quickly. Or, I'm sorry, not like most fish, like most food. Like mushrooms and blackberries and blueberries and stuff that you can forage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of my tinder. I've yet to find a grinder, but not really interested in one. There's a campfire that we built right underneath our feet. It doesn't hurt to stand in it. Stand in it again. We can cook the fish. Now we have cooked fish. I'll just go ahead and smother the fire anyway. I thought about using those as kind of navigational markers just to show where I've been before, because this world is pretty huge. I mean, it seems like it can take hours and hours to go across it. But, yeah, if you leave the general area where a campfire was, it just, it disappears. They don't persist. Likewise, I think any of these mushrooms or any other forage items that you find, those either spawn randomly or they just respawn after a certain amount of time. So I think what I'm looking for here is... Oh, I'm starving. Apparently, I should eat some fish. As well as the mushrooms. Okay. So I'm no longer hungry, but I'm also no longer rested. So eventually I will not be able to sprint. I'm actually sprinting right now. Something else I want to mention. I lowered my my bit stream, or my bit rate for this stream. It was set at something ridiculous, like 3700. So I dropped it down to about 2500. So if you've been getting a lot of buffering issues or a lot of choppy video, hopefully this will solve that without decreasing video quality too much. I don't really like how steep this canyon is getting, because obviously it's going to make it impossible to go over there if I need to, but I see a bridge in the distance. Use my binocs here. Yeah, that thing right there. And it looks like I may be able to start going up this hill at this point. Let me just check and see where the little nav point is leading me. Okay, I'm on the right track at least. We'll go up this way and see if we can find anything related to the beacons. And actually, as I've been doing this before, I've been kind of zigzagging back and forth, tracking down various entries in my notes, and I've been kind of going back and forth all the way across this whole environment. But yeah, really, the only objective that I can tell in this game is that there are two of them. The first objective, of course, is to simply survive, to not starve to death, or not walk into a large body of water and freeze to death, as that is also a possibility. Hang on. There are some ruins, or a ruin here. Looks like a big wall. And you know, I'm not sure what these are. They look like bones to me. Yeah, it looks kind of like a skull and some bones. I'm not really sure what that's supposed to symbolize. But I have heard, and I don't know if this is still true in this kind of far-flung future, but there were these kind of dark entities, I guess. In some of these notes, there was a time when people just didn't go out at night. How do I jump? There we go. We are on a stretch of ruined highway here. All we can see is these little kind of Jersey walls. That's all that's left. It's kind of strange. Usually, as I'm running around in the wilderness, I would have found a little green orb already. And basically what those are the notes that you find. But I guess I am kind of just out in the middle of nowhere here. Let's see if I'm at least still headed in the right direction. Yeah, more or less. Oh, you see that bird up there? And actually, since I lowered my bit rate, you may not even be able to see it. But that bird circling around in the sky indicates that there is something interesting in that general area, kind of underneath it. So, let's see what we can see here. Oh, hang on. There it is. Let's go get it. Looks like a structure over there. We'll check that out shortly after I get this little green orb here. And it's also getting kind of dark. We're going to have to rest at some point. Nothing bad happens at night, as far as I can tell. It just becomes very difficult to see. And speaking of difficult to see, this is a ruined car. Although it's kind of difficult even for me to see that. So I'll pick up this green thing and then I'll sleep for a while. Yeah, the stars are out in full. Okay, what is this? Still heading north. No way of knowing if Canada will let us in. A lot of other cars out, and some abandoned that we have to swerve around. Most are heading south toward Olympia. I don't ask why we're not going that way, but I trust Boss. Been hearing on the radio that there's a big fire going back at home, with all the rushing and chaos. Lots of folks died for sure, especially with the beacon down. I'm trying not to think of what's going to happen to the three of us, and take things as they come. Okay, I know who this guy is. This guy is he's like an emergency worker. He's like a 911 responder. And the notes I've been finding from him basically indicate that there was this sudden hue. This is sometime after the beacons. This is after the pro-death cults. This is after the serial killers and everything else. These notes are written right at the point where humanity fell, which is the fall on this button. And Elspeth, I think, might be this guy's name. Not entirely certain. But I have seen other notes from this guy. And if I select beacons, again, we get led off in this direction. So, since it's pretty much impossible to see a thing, I'm going to rest. I'm going to rest. There we go. All space, all time, the stars, the terrible perturbations of the suns, swelling, collapsing, ending, serving their longer, shorter use, filled with Eidolons only. Whenever you take a rest, you get these little lines of poetry. Okay, now it's daytime. We are starving, but since we are also in the Pacific Northwest, it is very foggy, as one might expect it to be. Let's rest again. Okay, that's better. And of course, now that we've done that, I'm starving again. So we're on this freeway, there's all these ruined cars. Let's take a look at this house, now that we can see clearly. And it's empty, which is not surprising. Nothing's really nearby. Okay. I'm gonna go check out, check out that thing in the distance, and then we'll keep moving towards that beacon waypoint and see what else we can find. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to set an alarm on my phone. Since I do play these games during my lunch break, it is helpful to know when that ends. And, hang on one second. Alright, we got a little bit less than an hour. Maybe about 40 minutes, give or take. Okay. Off we go. Oh, you see that in the distance? There's a deer. And I have a bow and arrow. This is a fairly good source of meat. Well, maybe not a good source of meat. It only gives you one. Let's see if I can do this. Oh, that was way off. Gotta lead my target. Nope. Oh, so close. I'll be the first to admit I'm not great at this bow hunting mechanic. Yeah, he's gone. And you know, I think I rested too much. I think that might be sunset coming up. So you can see the sky is getting a little pinkish. Hey, is that... I wonder, off in the distance, if this is Mount Rainier. Could be. From what I remember of Seattle, or the Seattle area, unless you are very close to it, Mount Rainier is almost always going to be obscured by fog and clouds. Is this a thing? That is not a thing. Okay, yet another empty house, but there are plenty of blueberry bushes here. Blackberries, sorry. Let's just grab a whole bunch of those. I know this isn't the most action-packed game out there, but it can be relaxing, and that's pretty much what I need right now. Let's see. Beacons. Oh, and there's a bird over there, so there's something close by. When you start a new game, incidentally, you have no inventory, you have no notes, and you have none of these tools. You know, you don't have a fishing pole or the bow and arrow. Those are all stuff that you have to find, and you find them by looking for these birds. And the tools will always show up as a white orb, whereas the notes will show up as green orbs. Still farther away. Cross this roadway here. Yeah, we are getting closer, but I don't see anything yet. Still getting closer. I do like how you can see the bird from, like, apparently miles and miles away, which is really helpful. Early on in this game, there were pretty much... Aha! There it is. Early on in this game, there were more or less swarms of those birds flying around. They're getting a bit few and far between, though. Okay, here's this 911 responder again. He says, well, things took a bad turn today around 11. Our truck shut off and we're on foot. Boss and Grin and I were pretty surprised when the interior light started flashing on the nav screen was Director Moses. She says she's got orders to shut us down remotely. Says we're betraying Evergreen and our fleet. Says to come back home. She told us that another team did the same as us and left, and they're on their way back with no questions asked. Says the city's trying to get the beacon up and running, with rumor that we'll get support from the capital soon. She says we'll die out here. I look at Boss, her face set like stone, sitting up real straight with her hands gripping the wheel real tight. I've seen enough, done enough. You're all dead anyway. We all are. If I'm going to die, I'd rather it be somewhere nice and quiet. Director Moses says she's sorry and lets us know she's going to put in the override. The lights go off, the dials droop, and we eventually glide to a stop. So now we're on foot. Things aren't going as planned, and Boss isn't doing much talking. I'm still trying to stay positive and out of the way. We got some bedrolls, quite a bit of food, mostly prefab stuff, some first aid supplies, antibiotics, water, and some other stuff. We pushed the truck off the road and locked it so that, well, I don't know why. Grin's got our Got her packed too with food and a blanket. We've made camp now, and I'm preparing for an uneasy night. So, speaking of night, time does fly. Okay, let's rest. And we'll eat some of our fish. Actually, we'll eat the blackberries. That helped a little. I thought I saw... Yeah, there's a bird over there. Off we go. Oh, hang on 1 second. Okay. Where'd he go? There he is. Let's see if this is actually related to the beacons. Yeah, looks like it. So we're on the right path to follow this narrative thread. Oh, looks like it's near a river, so I can restock some fish. I wonder if I can determine where I am on the maps based on this river. Possibly not. I mean, these maps are very, very crude. Actually, I think I'm not even on these maps anymore. I think I went north, just kind of off the grid here. Yeah, I'm probably way up there somewhere. Alright, well, be that as it may. Let's catch some fish. Maybe about 5 of them ought to do it. I know this isn't the most thrilling video in the world, just me fishing, but gotta have food. And who knows when you'll find another body of water. If we watch this long enough, the fog will start to clear. And we'll start to be able to see further into the distance. There's our friend the bird across the river. Come on, fish. Maybe just one more fish. So I found it kind of interesting when I first set up this stream. Twitch had never heard of this game, and they wouldn't let me enter the name of it at first. But I'm pretty sure that they use the Giant Bomb database for all their games, and this game is certainly in there. So that was kind of strange. It eventually did let me create the stream. Just one of those things, I suppose. Okay, now as we go into the river here, and I'll actually show you what happens, we get that little snowflake at the bottom of the screen which says that it's that it's cold, because this water is basically freezing. And it turns red. We are now actually freezing. And if I stay here for long enough in this water, that little skull icon starts flashing, which means that we are in danger of death. And if you look at the borders of the screen, you'll see that the screen is starting to become narrower and narrower. if it eventually closes down all the way, then we die out here. And we certainly don't want to do that yet. So as we get out, this thing widens out, and let's go ahead and create a campfire just to warm ourselves up. Let's just stand right on top of it until that little snowflake icon goes away. There it goes. And, sorry, I had a little drink of water there. Let's head over to this bird here. I also want to mention that sometimes you'll see an orb that you want to pick up, but it'll be way high up in the air. And I ran into that a lot in the ruins of the city, and I'll show you how you deal with that. We can see there's an orb way down there. And, it's just sitting on the ground, so we can get it, but if it's way up in the air, you can just use your bow and arrow. And just kind of shoot nearby. Well, I'm doing pretty poorly at this. There it goes. This is new. Interesting. May 15th, 2142. I woke up and everyone was gone. There were some kids up on the overpass looking at me, so I took the broken rails south, rather than risking crossing the old campus toward the freeway. It came to me that my only option now was hoping Bellevue was still around. The pain in my chest, especially when I coughed, was getting worse. But beyond that was the stinging sensation. I realized the small nicks and cuts along my hands and arms weren't scabbing over. I made it to Fairhaven before the darkness started. Then my nose started bleeding and I passed out. A hand took mine and brought me back up. There was a Senin woman crouched over me, and she was holding my hand. Told me her name was Kate. She said if I held her hand and walked with her, she could keep me alive. We walked on for a while in silence. We went through an abandoned part of Fairhaven towards the freeway. As the sun started going down, she turned to me. "We aren't going to Bellevue," she said. "The whole city is empty now. There aren't many cities left, and they are all out east. I'll take you to the city that let me in. It's where Michigan used to be. They call themselves the Cradle." My hands were already trembling, already sweating, but Kate didn't seem to mind. She told me Senin don't need to sleep, so she can keep watch for me. One of her gifts is to attract small animals, so food won't be a problem. I'm scared. I haven't been out of Victoria for a long time. I wonder if the world is still out there, if there is anything left. Okay, so this links to the Fall, Senin, and the Cradle. I am also starving, incidentally. So let's eat the mushrooms, eat some of these fish. Yeah, Senin is not something I quite understand yet, but we'll get there eventually. I'm still trying to find out what the deal is with these beacons. And there's another bird, so there's something close by. Pick up some mushrooms along the way. Drive-by mushroom picking. Interesting, I thought I saw two birds. That one there, and one way in the distance. Of course, the one way in the distance may just have been a speck on my monitor. That's entirely likely. There it is. Which direction am I going? West. Okay. Wait, is that west? Yes, it is. I really like the music in this game. It's very mellow. Let's see. Eldon found a boat. Finally, we had to walk along the coast for a day and a half, combing through driftwood and other detritus. But he finally found one with something resembling structural integrity, so it would seem the hunt is on again. Or it will be in the morning. There are still a few repairs to be made, although I'm not entirely certain how Eldon is going to make them. We did not bring shipwriting supplies along with us. He seems confident, though, so I will trust him. Based on the maps we have of the area, it looks like we will be island hopping for the next few days. The boat has a sail, but neither Eldon nor I knows how to operate it, so I'll have to row. I hope the weather stays decent, otherwise we'll be in for a difficult time. Since I doubt you'll be able to follow us, I guess this is goodbye for now. Considering that we've never actually met, it's strange how fond of you I've grown. It's nice to have someone to talk to, even if they can't talk back. I know it's unlikely, but if you ever find yourself in a beacon city, feel free to contact me. It would be lovely to meet you face to face. I'll still leave you letters in case you make it over to the peninsula. Will you please look out for them? In return, I'll try to look out for you in whatever small way I can. I hope you find whatever it is you're looking for. Let me know if you come across any mysterious reach technology. Goodbye. Well, Traya is the name of this particular narrative thread, and I found a number of notes from her in the past. It looks like this may be the end of her story, though, unless I can somehow figure out where I am on these crazy maps. But apparently not. This does, however, link to beacons. So we're being led back in this direction, it seems. Towards the ruins of the city, it looks like. And there is a bird up there. I don't know if that bird is related to our search here, but let's not risk crossing that. I have a feeling that if I get killed in this game, I basically have to start all over. Which I wouldn't really want to do, considering how much time I put into this so far. So I'll just walk around the shore instead. Once we actually get into the city, if in fact we are going that way, the ambient noise changes a lot. You basically hear a bunch of like groaning metal. Just kind of howling winds. I've heard a bunch of wolves, but I've not seen them yet. And I've heard like some fairly strange sounds at night in the city. To be honest, they were kind of creeping me out, but nothing ever came of it. So I don't just know if that's part of the soundtrack or if there is actually something else out here. And did you see that? Way off in the distance, there's a green orb. That's not the same direction that the bird is in, but we'll keep that in mind. Let's see, where's he at? There he is. don't see anything yet. Interesting, can't really tell what that was. Aside from a ruined something. Aha, there it is. And I gotta remember that there's another one of those off to the left from that orb. Lewis, I'm not sure who this is. I can't get that stench out of my nose, that awful pungent reek of the dead and dying. I need to get out of here, need to get far, far away before I lose my mind here. I mean, what would even keep me here at this point? Parents are dead, sister is dead, wife is dead, and the baby. God, Lewis, get your head out of your ass and stop wallowing. Feeling sorry for yourself isn't going to get you anywhere. The world is fucked, we all know that. The only thing to do now is try to get the hell out of here and find somewhere safe. Try to find some normal again. Georgia would have wanted that, assuming there is any normal left out there. God, Georgia, what happened? How did we let this happen? And to you with so much hope in your heart, so much love. I could still see it there in your eyes, even as I held you, even as I watched those thin red lines from your nose and ears grow thicker, even as you exhaled your last shuddering breath into this world and sucked all the air out of mine. Now the hand I held is cold and gone, not even buried. How could they just let everyone lie there? Where's the dignity in that, I ask? I guess there's not a lot of dignity in bleeding out of every orifice as your organs burst inside you, is there? I guess there's not a lot of dignity in that. What kills me, just kills me, is that we didn't even live in a beacon city. Little old us, humble old us living in Bellingham, trying to make a go of it the way nature intended. Fuck it, just fuck everything. There's no justice in this world. No justice in a world where people are falling down dead left and right, where a woman can be bleeding to death on the pavement and no one will even help deliver her child to save it. Just fuck everything, I'm done. Wow, that's rough. Lewis was not having a good time of things. I'm finding birds all over the place, but it is too dark. Let's rest. Lo, I are you, or woman, man, or state, known or unknown. We seeming solid wealth, strength, beauty build, but really build eidolons. I had to look up what an eidolon was when I first started playing this game, and I kept getting all of these quotes. Apparently it's a Greek word. It's kind of the embodiment or a representation of an idea, is what I believe the definition is. Beacons, whoa. Well, I guess that bird was leading me in the right direction. I know I'm missing one of those orbs. It's probably behind me by now, but I am really curious about the beacons at this point. I have not seen one, obviously, but apparently whatever happened to the world was caused by them, or so I would assume. Still running through the fog. Still starving. Eat a couple fish. Good as new, and there's an orb. This is Lewis again. I couldn't do it. Of course I couldn't do it. Not after everything you went through. Would be mocking your memory. But God, Georgia, I'm just trying so hard and there's nothing to show for it. There's no kindness left out there. Not a bit. I actually saw a 40-some-year woman steal canned carrots from a child. A child left crying in the street as her future went running off. It's bad enough the disease is still killing people. Addiction is still killing people. Now we have to worry about each other after all that? Georgia, how am I supposed to make a life out of this? No, I still couldn't do it. I miss you so much, but I have to try, right? Don't I? Maybe it was my fault for thinking we could ever escape the influence of the beacons. Maybe it was my fault for trying to fight the inevitable. So then why am I still here? Is this my punishment? I'm leaving Bellingham, that much I'm sure of. Packed my bags already, though I don't know if I'll even take them. Probably get stolen anyway. Not sure where I'm going yet. I don't think anywhere is really safe, so I'm not even sure it matters. Might try my hand at wilderness survival. No people dying at my feet in the streets, no. Well, no people at all. Doesn't sound half bad right now. I love you, Georgia. Oh, I named the baby, August. Still don't know if it was a boy or girl, but August fits either. Your birthday, our anniversary, kid's conception, though you probably shouldn't tell him that. Thought it fit. I hope you like it. Well, time for me to go. Wish me luck. I'm sure I'll need it. Now, you may notice, as I go through these notes, that we're kind of finding them out of order. And our journal here doesn't really sort them in any particular way. It just sorts them in the order that we found them. So there is kind of a little back and forth here as you try to piece together these stories. What I have found, actually, is on this little PDA, a lot of the things in here will be numbered. Like here's an entry for a serial killer, for example, and there's a number 2 up here. And as we go back, there's number 5. Well, as I found these, it was 5, 2, 4, 3. So yeah, they're basically just in some kind of random order. The numbers certainly do help, but I kind of wish that the handwritten pages had a bit more kind of a clue as to how they should all be pieced together. And we'll do like we've been doing. We'll head towards more notes about the beacons, 'cause that's what I'm really curious about. Apparently there was some virus or some kind of cataclysm or something that killed everyone. I haven't really found anything linking directly to that, but maybe that's what the fall is about. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's what the fall is about. And of course, since survival is of utmost importance, I'm going to get a few fish, since you never know when we're going to find water again. I think I'll just get maybe 3. As simplistic as it is, I find this game very pretty in its own little way. One of the games that I'm kind of looking forward to is The Long Dark, which is yet another survival game. Its graphics are a bit more, graphicsy, and it also looks like it is a whole lot easier to die. It's kind of, I don't want to call it a roguelike, because it's kind of not, but it does feature permadeath. And basically the objective, in its current state, as far as I know, is to just see how long you can survive. And that gets added to a leaderboard, I think. It's supposed to have a storyline, related to it, but that is apparently not yet implemented. Looks like we're very close to this this note, and I think I just saw it up on the top of this hill. Actually, I cannot resist this many berry bushes. My playstyle of this game, it's all about random detours, random tangents. This, I'm pretty sure, is not a game you can really win. You just kind of explore the narrative of the notes left behind, as well as the world that they're in. Which is fine with me. I think there need to be more games like this. Just something you can kind of play around with for a while and not have any kind of stress or any kind of overall objectives. Just a world for you to explore, as you see fit. We have so many blackberries. I won't even need to touch my emergency fish, I don't think. These will probably last me a couple of sleeps, I think, assuming they don't go bad. Let's see, how far away am I from this thing? Yep, still in that direction. Where'd you go, bird? Well, I guess that's what I get for turning around. Beacons. Alright, we're on the right track. Strange, I'm kind of wondering where that bird went. You guys saw him, I'm sure. And I could have sworn I saw an orb at the top of this ridge. Oh, guess not. Back on the beacon track again. Oh, there he is. He is right there. So there's something... I lost him again. We must be right on top of this thing. Is it up in a tree? Sometimes that happens. I guess not. Well, there's another one over there. Let me make sure that it's still the beacons. Yep. Okay. Get some more blackberries. I've not heard this music before either. Aha. Okay, this is Elspeth again, the emergency responder. Haven't been able to go on for a day, and I got bad news. Boss told me that before the beacon went up, she had diabetes. I've read about it in textbooks in our medical history classes, but since I was born after beacons, no one really had it. Boss said it was the second one, type 2, and she was needing to start kidney dialysis, where I guess they set you up with machines to clean the gunk out of your blood. She says even if they had insulin, it wouldn't even help much. Well, I see a total of 0 dialysis machines out here in the wilderness, and I'm a little exasperated. I mean, how could she not tell me? Did she think that if I knew, I wouldn't have gone with her? I don't really know what to think. I'm afraid of what's going to happen and running out of optimism. I really hope we get to a city soon. Okay, didn't know the boss had diabetes. And since the beacons are no longer working at this point in the narrative, she's gonna die. Pretty much everyone in these notes is all long dead anyway. But as we are some kind of indeterminate... Whoops, uh-oh. Alright, clicking on beacons again leads me down back this way. It's fine, I don't mind a little backtracking. As well as a little berry gathering. I have 214 blackberries. Down to 146. There's a bird up there. I don't know if the bird is visible through the trees or what the deal is there. But it is occasionally difficult to judge distance. Oh. Oh, okay, that's nothing. Just a hole in the leaves. Yeah, here in the forest where you have this canopy, you kind of got to rely on these little guidance thingies. So I'm not sure what that bird was trying to signal me for, but I didn't see what it was. I've seen some screenshots of this game where people go, where people are in this kind of snow-filled, kind of tundra area. I don't think I'm anywhere near there. But it is possible to freeze to death. I don't know if I'll ever see that kind of area during my playthrough. I should mention also, I'm playing this game with a 360 controller, but it does not have full controller support. So whenever I open up that little menu there with all my notes, I pretty much have to use the mouse and keyboard for that. So that's why there's kind of a little pause. I have to put my controller down and grab the mouse in order to interact with that. Hopefully that's something they can fix eventually. And it is getting a little dark. The only nice thing about this kind of twilight stage, or else just kind of general darkness, is that it makes it a lot easier to see the green orbs. There it is. Speaking of which, let me just, well, hit it with my bow here again. Here's Elspeth again. Inside's been feeling not so good. Me and Boss both have the runs, and I'm getting nosebleeds when I get up from taking a rest. It's slow going in the brush and trees. The streets get hard to follow and are often obscured by blackberries. Heck yeah, blackberries. At least we can eat them. Most are still green, though, and sour. Boss has been keeping real quiet, and I know she's in a lot of pain. Last night, around our little fire I conjured, laying in the dirt, she says, before the beacons, before the megacities, I had lived a full life. I had been in my career for over 30 years, seen my parents die, seen my own wife die of cancer, and was about to go on the transplant list and dialysis. I thought, this has been a good life. Things have been wrapping up. I'll probably end up dying in a few years, maybe. She pauses to play with Grin's ears a little bit. When I learned that I wasn't going to die, I almost felt cheated. I had stopped working, the days blended together into depression. I even tried to end it for myself. She shows me faint silver scars up and down her wrists. Then I thought, fuck it, I've made it this far, why not see it to the end? And here we are. We stare up at the stars, so many more than we were used to in the city. She says, I need you to be strong for me, to go on when I'm gone and see as much as you can, do as much as you can, really try to make it. Well, I ain't promising nothing, but I sure as hell will try. I kind of like this guy. I like reading this guy's story. And of course, as I was doing that, it is now nearly pitch black. Let's sleep. Feeling pretty hungry, but luckily we have 800 billion blackberries. We're down to 77. And you see here there are old blackberries, which I'm going to throw away. If you eat old, rotten food, you get sick. And I've had that happen to me once, and it is not pleasant. You can die from eating food that goes bad, and I got kind of lucky that I managed to survive. I basically just had to rest a lot and eat a lot of fresh food and stay near a campfire because I was always cold. So if you're starving, you can just freeze to death, or not if you're starving, but if you're sick, you can just freeze to death in normal circumstances. And you just kind of have to wait it out and hope you get better. You can also get injured in this game. And the more injuries you have, just the kind of worse shape you're in. I think I've had up to 5 injuries at one point, and that took quite a while to recover. I think I also had an infection from untreated injuries. The game told me I needed to find something antibacterial in order to treat that, but I've never seen any such thing. I've heard you can find honey, like beehives, and honey has very strong antibiotic properties. Not just in the game, but in real life. It's actually one of the reasons why honey never goes bad. So if you've ever wondered about that, that's why it just can't go bad. Because bacteria cannot break it down. What is that? A fox. Yeah. Oh. Very inconsiderate of you, fox. Oh, we're getting close to a city. Or at least a building. This toppled over skeleton of a skyscraper. Oh, I was way off. Wow, he is really booking. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that these things here, I'm pretty sure those are all human skeletons. Since we're near the ruins of a city. And I got all kinds of turned around. Where's my beacon waypoint leading me to? Okay, straight ahead. Straight ahead across a large river. Oh, there's the fox. Careful. Oh. Nah. I know that if you kill a deer, you get 1 meat. So I presume the same is for a fox, and it doesn't really seem worth the effort when you could just fish. And I do realize I have been kind of fishing a lot, but you know, it's also a survival game. You gotta eat. I actually really do like games that have some kind of fishing mechanic. Even Minecraft, you know, sometimes I'll just play around with vanilla Minecraft without any mods or anything, and just fish for a while, because I find this relaxing, weirdly enough. Oh, speaking of relaxing, that alarm clock noise, that means lunch break is over, and it is time for me to get back to work. So if anyone's watching this, thanks for watching. I try to do this daily at around the same time. If you want to follow, you'll get a little email notification whenever I decide to stream. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I don't know what game is going to be on the slate tomorrow. I may go back to something I've played before. Or I may try something completely different. But until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later on the next lunch break.